Hey, what's up, parents? Maybe some teachers, therapists, whoever's out there who likes to support kids with executive function challenges. My name is Seth Perler. This is my buddy Peter Fitzpatrick. What's up, Peter?
Hey, what's going on, Seth?
We're going to show you how to create your own free chat GPT AI temperature check for your child. And so this is pretty cool. This is not my area of expertise, but this is Peter's. And Peter has they've been creating a new friend toy sidekick device called Willow here at fawnfriends.com. And it's pretty cool. But in this video, we're going to show you literally how you can do this. So, Peter, if a parent or a teacher or a therapist wants to build this, especially for somebody who's skeptical, because I know a lot of people are skeptical about AI, what we're going to talk about the safety of AI in this way and the benefits. But let's start with the benefits. How can this help a child?
What's really cool or amazing is in the past year, the capacity to create a tool or a support for a child that I'll say manifests in the way you want it to manifest. So shows up for them in the way you want it to show up for them, even when you're not there, is possible in a way that wasn't even a year ago. In some cases, even 6 months ago. So it's a really interesting time to be applying AI to the world of executive dysfunction or executive function, excuse me. And so one of the benefits really is that kids have this desire or need to be independent, and they want to go out and do things on their own, particularly, and that increases as they get older. And at the same time, parents typically want to make sure that their children are prepared. They want to make sure their children are making good decisions. And AI offers the opportunity for you to equip your child with something that helps them be more prepared, make better decisions, while also making sure that they're making the right decisions and that they're preparing properly, because you've created this AI that helps them do that.
And have you seen actual evidence of this yet?
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty amazing to see how quickly kids take to using AI. For them, it's not abnormal. Um, and it's also amazing how quickly they want to know about like the AI's friends and where the AI comes from, and they open up to it quite quickly. And so there's a really interesting opportunity to use that then to help them grow up to be successful adults.
And when you say they open up to it, I can hear parents like alarm bells going off like, okay, well, if they're opening up to it and telling it personal or private things, is that unsafe for my child?
Yeah, it's a super valid concern. I mean, I think that the influences that we put in front of our kids matter more than anything. Excuse me if you can hear the truck going by in the background. Um, but we're going to talk today. I'll show you actually how to put guardrails in to the way the AI shows up, to make sure that it shows up properly for a child of your age. And also if there's specific or their age, and if there's some aspects that are important to you, I can even show you how to like add those into the prompt to make sure that the AI is showing up safe. But it's relatively easy to make sure it does.
All right, cool. So why don't you show us? So there's a thing called Chat GPT, and that's what people would need to have. So can you show us that? And this is everybody can find this instantly.
Yeah, so if the way to find this is go to chatgpt.com. Many of you have probably used it before. There's over 100 million people using ChatGPT now. It's wild. And you might be used to sort of just asking ChatGPT questions by putting questions into the prompt here. In order to do what we're going to show you today, you've got to have what's called a plus subscription. So you can see it up here under plan. That little P stands for my name. There's something called Plus. It's $20 a month. And this is a fee that goes to ChatGPT to basically use their service. And we're going to be using tools that require this subscription. There's also free versions, like you can go in and just use it to ask it random questions. But if you want to create your own, you've got to pay that. Any more questions about that, Seth, before we jump into how to create this?
I'm curious, did you build, is fawnfriends.com or is Willow, is that built on ChatGPT?
In a sense, so ChatGPT behind it has AI models that are created by OpenAI. So OpenAI is a AI business platform, and so ChatGPT uses OpenAI, and so do we. But there's a little bit different sort of interface for getting to the model in the background,
Okay.
and the way we do it, we've got a bit more control.
Okay, good, good. And I was wondering about, because I know that yours has been trained by therapists and professionals and experts in a real specific way to help kids. So that's
Yeah,
cool. I like that safeguard as well. All right. So let's take a look at where do we go from this page on ChatGPT? If somebody
very cool.
gets
So I'm going to change
ChatGPT.
tabs now. Can you see the new tab or are you still on the
Yep,
old one?
I see it.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So this is a section called My GPTs. You can get it by clicking on the little sidebar here. It also shows up on this side. But if you click that, you end up on My GPTs. And here's where you can create your own. You can see that I've created a bunch that help kids with different things. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to create a GPT that helps children or perform a temperature check, basically bring more awareness to their emotions. The easy way to do this is to click this Create tab, and then you can actually talk to the AI to start building the temperature check uh, AI. So we can say like, I want to create a companion that helps my child perform temperature checks when something upsetting happens. I will define a temperature check. So essentially what we're doing now is we're telling the model what we want it to do for us. And you see that it's doing its little thing, it's updating. It wants to call it emotional buddy. You can call it whatever you want, but for the purpose of this conversation, I think we'll just go with that as like a
I
wiki
kind of
site,
like
or
it
you want to name
actually.
it
Yeah,
something.
that's great.
Okay, cool.
So Peter and I have talked about this exhaustively, and one of the things that I do a lot with my students is I do different types of temperature checks. So, because they're super valuable for emotional regulation, for kids to understand how to communicate about emotions, yada, yada, yada. So awesome. And I think Emotional Buddy is kind of cool, actually.
Nice. And what do you think about the picture that it shows for us or created for
Um,
us?
Good enough. I'd probably
Yeah.
mess with it, but good enough.
Okay, so we'll roll with that for now. So now we've got the picture. That is good. We like the picture and we like the name. And so now it's getting into providing a bit more detail in how we want the model to show up. So you can see it's asking like, what should be emphasized or avoided when Emotional Buddy interacts with your child? And so you asked about safety. It's already leading us towards defining how it should show up and making sure it's safe. And there's a lot of tools in here to make sure that it'll show up to match the audience that it's built for. So in this case, we're going to say, my child is, let's say, um, an 8-year-old. She is sensitive. Can you give me a scenario, Seth? Like she's sensitive to
Um,
social situations, maybe?
let's say criticism.
Well, she's sensitive to criticism.
And gets sad about people are when people are sad or animals are sad.
And maybe I'll add like she's having a conflict with a teacher. Is that all right?
That's great. Yeah.
Cool. So we just gave it the instructions, a little more context about who it's working with.
Okay. And it didn't
Um,
say like what should be avoided. Can we add one of those or is it too late? Can you go
no,
back
we
or
can keep going.
okay.
So it says now we're going to focus on how Emotional Buddy should talk. How do you want your buddy to communicate with your child? For example, should it be cheerful, soft, and gentle? And so this is a good opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And something to learn about when you build these things is if you tell it not to do something, it's actually not very good at following that instruction. Sort of
Okay.
like if I tell you not to imagine a pink elephant,
Okay.
you will. And so instead, we want to give it affirmative instructions.
Gotcha.
Tell it how to show up, not tell it how to not show up.
Okay.
Um,
So it should show up with yeah. I think what they said, cheerful, gentle, positive, encouraging, inspiring, um, playful, warm, empathetic, compassionate, patient. I think those are probably and rational, I guess. I don't know if what ChatGPT or AI will think of that word, but
yeah, I think it's actually quite difficult for it to be not.
okay.
Seek to understand how she's feeling. there was a couple of things you said in there, but I missed them. Although this is pretty good. One thing I wanted to say is
Can you
only
add
talk.
compassionate and empathetic?
Oh, thank you. And I want to only talk about subjects suitable
Mm,
for an 8-year-old. And this is in a sense, since I'm not going to go into this call because so many people have different views on what's right and what's wrong, but you
mhm.
can put anything in here for it to not talk about.
Yeah, so for
So
everybody
they're
watching, thank you for saying that. You can tailor this to your
yeah,
kid's age, personality, situation. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And beliefs and things that matter. So it's now going to update. And then so is all set up. Please try it out. There's one more thing we want to do, and I want to define the temperature check. So I find that when I'm giving it explicit instructions, like a temperature check, I switch over to this configure tab. And so this is where you're giving direct, everything we did before, basically the AI model was writing a prompt for us based on what we told that we wanted. But I find that when I wanted to do something specific, it's better that I go in and just be direct. And so I'm going to just pull, Seth and I worked on this before for Willow, or for the robot that he showed you earlier, the sidekick he showed you earlier. And so we're going to say this is a temperature check. Follow it exactly when she expresses something challenging. Does this look good to you, Seth, as in terms of a way to go?
As far as the steps below it,
Yeah.
what's the best way? Okay, let me open up my screen to see it a little bit better. Okay, so temperature check. On a scale of 1 to 10, how upset did you feel when that happened? Since we used the word sad earlier, let's just stick with that word. So can we change the word upset to sad? And then we have to define in that thing, it should say um, 10 is the saddest and 1 is the happiest or something like that, so that it explains it clearly to the kid. Because I've had people with temperature checks be like, well, which is good and which is bad? So we want to define that. Child respond without that. Yeah. Why is it that much? That's fine. Or why did you choose that number? Okay. And what would it take to increase it? That word is not common for an 8-year-old, so I change it.
Mm,
So I would probably just say, what would make things just a little bit better, comma, maybe 1 point higher, or maybe even 1 point higher, something like that. Or one number
cool.
higher. We should say one number higher. I'm sorry.
Cool.
To make it super clear. Okay.
Yeah, which is
Child,
perfect.
child will tell you, keep talking with the user until they have a good idea. Okay. All right. And then, okay, what can I do to help you get there? Or how about to help make make it happen? Is
We could
that
change this. Let's see how it plays out.
okay? Great.
Um, so now we close that, it's saved, and we can play with our emotional buddy here on the right hand side. So it can be like, hi, emotional buddy. I had a tough day. What should have happened today, Seth?
Um, my teacher got mad at me because I forgot something, and I feel sad.
Um, and so I don't know how big this is for you if you can see it, but she says, "Oh no, I'm really sorry to hear that you had a tough day. It's never fun when someone gets mad at you, especially a teacher. On a scale of 1 to 10, how sad did you feel when that happened? 10 being the saddest and 1 being the happiest." Should we say like a 6, an 8?
I was an 8 on the sad scale
That sounds really tough. Why did you choose an 8?
because I didn't know what to do and I didn't know who to talk to about it.
I understand it can feel really lonely and confusing when you don't know what to do or who to talk to. What would make things just a little bit better, maybe in just one number higher?
If I had a friend who understood, or if the teacher was more patient.
Hmm. Having a friend who understands or a teacher who's more patient would definitely help a lot. What do you think we can do to make one of those things happen?
Mm, I think I can ask my parents to help.
Hmm. We talk about that in a second. That sounds like a great idea. Your parents can be really helpful in talking to your teacher or helping you find a friend who understands. What can I do? That's emotional buddy, do to help make that happen?
Um, Give me a reminder to talk to my parents later today.
Sure thing. I'll remind you to talk to your parents about this later today. Remember, it's important to share how you're feeling and let them know you need their help. You're very brave for wanting to talk about it. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or I can help in any other way?
No, thank you. I feel a little bit better now.
What did you think?
That's pretty cool. I've used this for different things a few times, and it's pretty impressive. Like I'm always shocked by how accurate things can be. I think that as far as using this with an eight-year old to text it, obviously they're not going to be typing like you did, and you're not going to be reading it to them. Is that different with Fawn Friends, or can ChatGPT do it differently with voice prompts and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, so ChatGPT, you can speak to it. It works well, not 100%, but it's worth experimenting with, and it can be kind of fun. Um, and then with Fawn, yeah, I mean, you brought up earlier our website. You can see that there's like we've built a sidekick, a physical robot that we find kids are drawn to and want to spend time with, and also that the speech mode for them leads to more interaction. So there is like that option of going and getting like an embodied sidekick as opposed to creating one that they chat with. But both can be helpful for sure.
And a bunch of models, companies or startups have been trying things like this. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's not that many in the kid space, but there's a lot that have been working with. I mean, applying AI to many sectors of the economy, and therapy. There's a lot as well.
And this is yeah, fawnfriends.com, and you can, here's one of the kids that was learning about it, and she's talking about her experience, and you can get all these details here about that. But what I think is really cool about this, for people who've been following me a long time, I don't make videos like this about things. So I think this is just really exciting. And this is like the beginning. So I like that you guys are doing this right at the beginning. And I'm excited just to see where it goes, because I know that there's going to be a lot of these coming out in the next couple years.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your input. Like I light up when I see it, perform a temperature check with a child because I didn't do that before you and I spent time together. Um, yeah, I just kind of get tingly. I can even feel it now
They're
sometimes when I
so
watch it happen.
powerful. I mean, I've been doing this for years. This is like one of the most powerful things that I do with kids to like really get meaningful answers. And it helps get meaningful answers that they have buy-in and ownership around. And that's something where, and one of the things that we do as adults oftentimes is we try to rescue and save and give the kids the answers and lectures and share our wisdom with them. And that would all be fine if it lands. So when it lands, that's great. But this is a way that really they can get buy-in and ownership around. They're creating, they're finding their own solution, and that's what we want our kids to do. Anyhow, I'm
Well,
excited about it.
thank you so much for sharing that. I'll share one other thing which it triggered for me. You notice I switched from like the create to configure there when I wanted to, it's specifically to coach the child through your temperature check.
Yeah, so you
The
created what it would be like, and then you configured the specifics of how to do it. Okay, yeah.
That's right. But the reason I did that is because these models, they're meant to be servants, right? Their whole purpose is to give you the answer you want right away. And so you've actually got to put a fair amount of time and energy into massaging the prompt so that it instructs the model to show up in the way a coach would, not in the way that someone giving direction would. I think that's important for parents to think about, because if you put an AI that's not designed that way in front of a child, or if they just start like using the one on WhatsApp or Facebook, it'll just give them the instructions, which probably isn't setting them up for the future, um, like many intend to. So it's
Mhm.
worth thinking about that.
All right. Well, awesome, Peter Fitzpatrick. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to show us how to do that. And this is where you can, I'll put a link to it below, but fawnfriends.com. And they are, I think you have 500 units or so
Yeah, there's only 500 available.
before May 19th.
That's right. Yeah, it's coming up quick.
And then, yeah, so awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for sharing this with my audience. I hope that that helps you all. I hope you all can, and obviously you can adapt this to different ages, but I'd be interested to hear in the comments or somehow how this impacted you for those of you that try it. And yeah, that's
Me
all I
too.
got.
Thank you so much for having me, Seth, and good luck everyone with creating your own.
Thanks. And if I didn't even mention it, my name is Seth Perler, sethperler.com, executivefunctionlab.com, executivefunctionsummit.com. Wear a lot of hats in the executive function, ADHD, and neurodiversity 2E worlds, and all of that stuff. And I'm glad you're here. All right. Take care, Peter.
Later, Seth.